Good evening and welcome to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. I'm your host, Dionne Anglin. Tonight on Sports Extra, we will be chatting with Dionne Lawrence. She's a sports medicine physician and lead team doctor for the Reggae Girls. Of course, you've heard of the Reggae Girls who were just off their historic run at the FIFA Summer Games, the World Cup Games in 2023. Dr. Maeve Ulat-Ivy, specializing in cardiology and now furthering her education in preventative cardiology. All right, we're going to hear from her. And we also have the Assistant Director of Sports Programs for the Cayman Islands and former head coach for Jamaica's Reggae Girls. We have Coach Everton, or Mr. Everton Edwards. Do you still go by Coach?
No, they call me Sarge. Actually.
Sarge?
Yeah, they call me Sarge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, this is for the Cayman Islands Department of Sports Honoring Women's Month segment of Sports Extra. Next, we will have Cayman... Excuse me. Next, we'll hear from Cayman Volleyball Federation, his technical director. We have Dr. Trevor Thorold, along with players Dylan Linney. We'll have Miss Cayman Islands Universe, because she's a top national volleyball player herself. And, of course, the assistant coach for volleyball, Dean Linney. All right, so stay tuned. We have a whole lot more to cover. We'll hear from Sports Extra in a minute.
Every day, thousands of residents use our roads, and every journey requires responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences. So let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads. First, visit gov.ky/road safety/pledge. Read and check all the boxes, fill in your name, and click submit. It's that easy. Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Our climate is changing, and so is Cayman. Stronger and more frequent hurricanes, longer periods of drought, sea level rise, and higher temperatures are already impacting our communities. If we take nature into account before we act, we can harness nature's benefits and reduce the devastation caused by natural disasters. Because when we put nature front and center, nature can provide the solutions.
Hey there, Cayman. Have a few minutes to spare? Your Ministry for Housing has just launched the public survey for the Cayman Islands Housing Policy and Strategic Plan. We are all about making our island home even better. We need your help. It's your thoughts and ideas that will shape our housing policies for the future. Your voice matters, and it's easy to get involved. Just visit cihousingplan.org and let your voice be heard. Plus, you could catch some cool gift cards just for sharing your ideas. Don't miss out. Open through April 16th. Head to cihousingplan.org or go to the ministry's Facebook, Instagram, X, or LinkedIn now and be a part of the conversation. Your input matters more than you know. Let's make Cayman's housing future brighter. Together, your voice, your future. Take the survey today.
We are Radio Cayman,
covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million.
Alrighty, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. Dionne Anglin here, and I'm trying to clear my throat. It's coming. I'm gonna get it. It's gonna come out at some point in time. And we have on the telephone line, we have Dionne Lawrence with us, sports medicine physician. Good evening, Dionne.
Hi. Good evening, Dionne. Good evening, everyone else listening to us.
Yeah. Good evening to you. It's nice to be chatting with you once again.
Yes, it is. Same here. Thanks for the invitation, and thanks to the department for asking me to do this. It definitely is my pleasure.
All right. I know the last time we spoke, it was before the wellness presentation that was held here for International Women's Day, and it was such a huge success that people are still talking about it. You know that, Dionne?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice. I'm very good. very good.
Definitely, definitely. And with us we have Mr. Everton Edwards, and he is the Assistant Director of Sports Programs. But I'm sure you know Mr. Everton very well.
Jill and I
Yes,
go back.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm quite familiar with Mr. Edwards, yes.
If you can pull your mic a little closer to you, please.
Okay.
All right, and we have Maeve Hewlett Ivy in the studio with us as well. So we're it's our Honoring Women's Month segment, our wellness segment. So we're gonna talk with the three of you about women, for getting women involved in sports, and what's the hashtag? Inspire inclusion.
Inspire inclusion.
Inspire inclusion.
Yes,
definitely. And I'm gonna start with you, Gillian. I know reflecting on the Reggae Girls' historic run at the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023. Can you share with us some insights into the role you played as the team's lead doctor in preparing the athletes for, of course, such a high-level competition?
Wow. First off, I would definitely like to say it was a phenomenal experience from the aspect of sports medicine and actually, as you say, preparing the team, to get them to that level, both mentally and physically, is in and of itself quite a task.
Yes.
I had a first-class medical team working with me, comprised of both males and females, and each person definitely had a very unique role to play in all of us coming together as a team. And the one thing we had to realize from the get-go in terms of preparation is that these are women, they are female. And it's an entirely different thing dealing with them as opposed to dealing with male athletes, whether it's recreational or otherwise.
Right.
So, the emotional aspect of it is different. Also realizing exactly what we were embarking upon in terms of the stage that we were going to be on, trying to handle their physical requirements as well as their medical requirements as well as their mental requirements.
Yes.
In terms of the preparation and leading up to that and during all of it, in terms of how everything was handled, how they themselves handled it, and giving them an outlet that they felt safe in to work through everything that they were dealing with. So it was quite a challenge at times, but definitely an interesting challenge and definitely a situation that I realize female sports medicine physicians would be more adept at dealing with and handling. So much so that some of the men that I work with, some of the male sports medicine physicians that I work with, kind of don't really want much a part of it at all. They're like anything to do with the woman, and especially at that level. And FIFA themselves as an organization has tapped that they want to have that level of involvement of the sports medicine physician and the physiotherapist and as much of the medical staff as they can, being female, because they realize what it takes. And so much of that has come from the continued research that they are doing into the game at that level, into the female athlete, and working with them across the board. So they now realize, on all the studies and everything that they're doing has shown them that it's better for their own personal growth and development to have women involved with them at that level.
Definitely. And I will jump over to Mr. Everton. Can you share with us the moment or experience that motivated you to become dedicated to women's football development and the empowerment of female athletes?
Well, I was fortunate to be offered a job at Florida International University. Excuse me. And I thought coaching women taught me about women, to tell you the truth, because the emotional side of the game as a male I didn't really understand until I started coaching women.
Yes.
I learned to take them as individuals to have the success. I had to, and it was a learning curve for me as a male coaching females. But what I like about I loved about coaching women is that once you had them believing in what you wanted to create, they would run, they'd do anything for you to win games and stuff like that.
That sounds familiar.
Yes, it does.
My father coaches women as well, and he says the same exact thing.
Yeah. It really, and in life, in relationships also, you learn when to say things, when not to say things, when to leave them alone. It's extraordinary that how this part of my life has come into your private life also.
Definitely. And Maeve, with an impressive transition from working in accident and emergency to specializing in cardiology, and now furthering your education in preventative cardiology, how do you feel your diverse experience has shaped your approach in patient care?
Thank you for having me on. Good question. I think when I first started in medicine, A&E, when I started working in Cayman, accident and emergency was one of the first places I worked in. But because that is kind of a catch-all and it is a specific bubble for Cayman, A&E or accident and emergency in other countries does not function quite the way accident and emergency does in Cayman. So it's very much a catch-all for everything. So you are very, you really get your feet wet.
Right.
So to get that and get that exposure for a couple of years to then kind of move on to a specialist area, I thought was very good for my career and development. And then being able to kind of focus and hone in on cardiology, which I did family medicine and focusing on preventative cardiology. I thought it was a good mix of both because we do have, unfortunately, quite a lot of chronic non-communicable diseases in Cayman. We're talking about things like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. We got large numbers of people in the population with those. And so just to kind of be able to focus on that and hope to, prevent progression of disease, prevent progression of disease, or hope to stop, bad outcomes. It's quite rewarding.
It's a large population with high blood pressure as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
Worldwide. Also in Cayman, for sure.
Definitely. I know balancing a demanding career with a busy family life, including being an avid football mom, requires significant multitasking skills. Yes. Can you share some strategies or tips that have helped you manage both aspects of your life effectively?
Wow. It is really, I think, figuring out how to manage stress and time management. I would say time management is probably the one. As a mom, I'm sure you agree with me. Time management is probably the number one thing to kind of figure out and get right. And I feel like some days you get it very right and some days not so right. But time management and just kind of being organized and not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed when things don't quite go the way you hoped they go.
Yes, definitely. Jillian, I don't want to leave you behind because you're on the phone, right? You're not that easy to forget. Can you hear me?
No.
Okay.
I can.
All right. So you touched on it. You touched on it just in a brief moment. As a female leader in a field that intersects sports and medicine, two areas where women are often underrepresented. What challenges have you faced, and how have you overcome them?
Well, I think for me, you're absolutely right in that in both areas there are challenges. In terms of the female physician and then the female
athlete,
sports,
yes,
and then the female athlete. So everything, kind of balled up into one. It's primarily, I think for me, it was primarily just a matter of realizing that A, this was who I am, and B, that at no point in time should anyone be able to tell me that I wasn't good enough.
Right.
Or as good as or better than anyone else, irrespective of their gender, to do what, as far as I'm concerned, I've been, built and put here to do. So I think the confidence just has to come in, and the confidence has to come in a way that you know as an individual that you can provide something that someone else probably can't. Be it a conversation, be it being able to listen, be it an actual medical skill.
Right.
And as Coach Edwards said, it's a lot of it is about having them trust in you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when they gain your trust, then you in turn repay that with, the honesty of taking very good care of them, and dealing with them A, as individuals, and B, just letting them know that you are there and you know what you're doing. You have to be confident in what you're doing. And a lot of the times in explaining to them why you're doing what you're doing, they appreciate that. They respect that open communication. And they will always, go to someone else, another professional, and try and figure out or do their own research to try and figure out if what you're doing is along the right path. And when you show that confidence to them, and even when you show them and help try and educate them about what you're actually doing and what is going on with them, irrespective of the angle that it's coming from, then I think they respect you even more. And I think the men in the arena do that as well because of the same types of things. So you then, gain that respect from everyone around you, and then you just become, you're genderless at that time.
Right.
And then you just become a person that is a professional and an individual in this area, and you're good at what you do. So, you fall in with everybody else at that point.
Gotcha.
I'd like to add,
yeah, sure.
Having the experience of working with Dr. Lawrence, she's an extraordinary individual.
Yes.
She's awesome with the young ladies. She lets them say what they need to say, and then she gives her opinion on what it is. The way she handles them was fantastic, and I think they really looked up to her.
Right.
They really, really looked up to her and confided in her, and she's a good listener, and I really enjoyed working with her.
Awesome. I like to hear that. And you're an avid sportswoman yourself, Jillian, right? You played squash here in the Cayman Islands and football.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So Jillian currently lives in Jamaica, but she's actually from Cayman, right? So yeah, that's right. So you've seen you've been seen as a role model for women's participation and leadership in sports at all levels. What message, Jillian, do you have, or do you hope your work and presence convey to young girls aspiring, to careers in sports, whether on the field or off the field, or behind the scenes, I should say?
I think the biggest part of it is your confidence and your desire, in the sense that working hard at it, be it from the studying perspective or be it from the training perspective on the pitch, that is very important. So your dedication to doing what needs to be done, both on and off the field, will always give results. And those results are what people are going to judge you by and are going to measure you by at the end of the day. So once you produce your results, irrespective of your gender, your age, your creed in life, everybody, I think, you'll get acknowledged for what and where you are supposed to be.
Awesome.
So it's the bottom line is just to do the work, put the hard work in, and know that at the end of the day, it will reap, you will reap the benefits of that.
Definitely. Thank you for those words. Maeve, as a patient advocate, what are some of the challenges you've faced in ensuring your patients receive the best medical advice, and how do you overcome these challenges?
I would say, to be honest, as a gender, women are probably, if we're talking about men and women are probably more health-seeking and have better health-seeking behavior.
Right.
So it is actually a bit easier for me to get my message across to women. They are more reliable as a patient in terms of showing up and listening and adhering to advice they are usually the ones who are then responsible to corral the gentlemen in their
Yes.
lives to do the same, be it fathers or brothers or spouses, partners. So I would say that the women are the background
Yeah.
support for how we successfully do what we do, because they're responsible for bringing them their children and
Yes.
and the men.
Yeah. You agree? Yeah.
I agree. I
He says, mm-hmm.
I definitely agree.
And coach, in your journey as a coach, what unique challenges have you faced in promoting and developing women's football?
Well, I was fortunate again, working at Florida International University,
Yes.
to have come into coaching when Title IX
Yes.
was evident, because what Title IX did, it leveled the playing field as far as what the men got, the female, when the male gets, the
Versus
female
what the female gets.
So that helped. I don't think we would have developed as fast if we didn't get that.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And so it helped us build the program through. At FIU, we got to the NCAA round of 16, which I would never have got there unless that came.
Right. Most definitely. And how do you approach creating an inclusive and empowering environment for female athletes, especially in a sports world that has traditionally been male dominated?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I never compared. Okay, I never compared. I let them find their own niche and then find their own level of play and so forth. The only thing I wanted to install was speed of play. Okay, yeah,
Right.
men play faster, yes, but I said whatever they can do, we can do better.
Yeah.
That's the way I did it, and the success it was. I think if you get to the conscience of the female, they'll do anything you want. They'll run through a brick wall for you.
Yes.
So, and that's the way we had success at FIU. So
Women certainly have a lot of determination.
I think women are much more
Preservation.
determined than men.
Yeah.
And you've coached men as well.
Yeah, I've coached men. I've been with the under 20 U.S. national team with men. I coached at FIU as assistant coach for
Right.
men. But it's just I just think women are more committed. Once you get them over there, they're much more committed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree with that. It's a different dedication. Once they, if they decide that that's what they want, and
Right.
they are trying to. It's an entirely different dedication to a male team or male, even recreational personnel that have a desire and a goal. The women do it at a completely different level.
I'm going to ask you this question, Jillian, and it is because it's a question, it's an answer I know our athletes and our coaches as well here in the Cayman Islands need to hear. The mental aspect of sports. It's just as crucial as the physical. How do you and your team address mental health resilience among the athletes, especially in preparing for and recovering from major tournaments?
So the first thing to do, and that is an excellent question, the first thing to do is recognize and accept that it is a huge area.
Yes.
And that it is real. And the first problem that a lot of teams have, I think, is putting that aside and not addressing it, thinking that you can prepare for tournaments, you can get in good shape, you can eat right, you can sleep right, you can do all of those things. But you have to address the mental as well, especially in team sports.
Yes.
But I won't even say especially. It's just that it's different. Team sports and individual sports. But in all of them, they're the same. And even with the recreational athlete, the same thing.
I was thinking the pressure might have been on more for individual athletes, the mental side of things.
Actually, it varies.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I'm
in
sure.
the sense that in a team sport, what you tend to find sometimes is that, of course, because there's such a varying set of personalities that make up the team, and clearly, everybody has one goal in mind. And the one thing, especially with women, is that irrespective of their differences as individuals and amongst each other, once they've set their minds to a set goal that they all agree upon, then it's all about the goal.
Yeah.
Then has nothing to do with them individually.
Right.
But what everyone else, what the supporting cast around now has to do is work with a different set of personalities and the different set of mental issues that each one of those individuals have.
And the different
And
needs.
that is, yes, and that is very important. And a lot of times we don't address that and we don't talk about it because it's not something that you say, okay, get up and do 5 miles in the morning, do 2 sets of this, get 8 hours sleep. That's not what it's about. A lot of it is about communicating. It's about listening. It's about trying to understand
Stroking
whatever it is that they might be going through, and allowing them to feel that they're safe enough to have that conversation with you.
Yes.
And then be that place sometimes that doesn't even say anything. It might just be a matter that it's an area that they can express themselves and they can express themselves comfortably. And that is one of the differences that you find so much between the females and the males.
Yeah.
Because the males tend to not be about all of that expressive nature, especially the players. But what I actually found quite a lot at the World Cup was that with a staff that was mixed with both male and female,
Right.
there were many issues, personnel issues. The team we ended up being with each other probably anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks, going into that World Cup stretch and then, at the World Cup itself. And of course, being around the same people that are not your family and are probably not your friends, there are all sorts of, everybody develops all sorts of their own personal issues and situations at that time. And all of them have to be dealt with to the best, in that particular time and space for the betterment of the team, because all of it affects the team. Every single bit of it affects the team and how they play. And it all affects the players. So somebody somewhere has to keep a handle on that. And that is where somebody like a sports psychologist is an important role, or plays an important part within like the medical team. But if that person isn't there, then that is a role that the sports medicine physician has to pick up and be capable of dealing with. I mean, it is a part of our training, so it is something that we are capable of doing, even though it is a specialty within itself. And we always advocate for having that on board when you're dealing, whether it's individual or otherwise, because it is a huge part of their success, both leading up to it and dealing with either losses or wins, in terms of wins that they probably didn't expect.
Right.
A situation, a simple situation, and I won't take up a lot of the time, but a simple situation such as, the team probably making it to the round of 16.
Right.
The Reggae Girls making it to the round of 16 and coming out of the group stage. And for as much as the entire team sat down and that was one of the goals, one of the stepping stones for the team, when it actually happens, then you then have to deal with the headspace and how everybody feels about that, what it means, what is the next step, how do we embrace that, hone it, don't let it get too out of control,
Right.
Because other steps have to be made after that. That's not the end of the road. So it's very important to, I think, first of all, just acknowledge it, know that it's there, and know that it's a big part of the success of any team or of any individual. And without it, that success is not going to be, we're not allowing the athlete or the individual recreational person, we're not allowing them to be the best that they can be without dealing with that
Agreed.
aspect of it.
Agreed. And I totally agree with you. And accepting failure as well, in terms of
Totally, of course.
definitely. If you could accept the success, you have to accept. You have to embrace the failure as well. And it's the only way you would improve as well. I fancy when we do sports here, when the athletes come back, they don't want to talk about their failures. They just want to talk about the games they've won. Coaches as well. So you have to prompt them and like, okay, well, let's talk about the loss. What happened?
Right.
You know,
Definitely.
yeah, it's the only way we would improve.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and it's now 7:31, 7:32.
Ah,
So we have passed our time. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I appreciate you.
Thank you
this
for
was
having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
You're very
Thank you
welcome.
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
Some very important knowledge was passed on here tonight, and I hope we had some coaches and players listening in, and sports psychologists listening in.
Or aspiring
as
sports
aspiring
psychologists.
Good work,
psychologist.
Dr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
yes.
Alrighty. Well, we will be back with more Sports Extra. We have Cayman Volleyball is going to be in the studio next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having us.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Let your voice be heard on community affairs, social issues, and all things Cayman on Talk Today, airing middays on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and brought to you by Digicel. Get more data and faster speeds with a bigger, better network. Join the Digicel family today.
The Ministry of Education invites eligible Caymanians to apply for a local scholarship for the 2024-2025 academic year. To apply for a local scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship offerings, please visit the Scholarship Secretariat Unit's website at www.moescholarships.gov.ky. Applications close on Tuesday, 30th of April, 2024. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Traffic again? What in the world is going on?
Find out by tuning in to Radio Cayman's Traffic Report, brought to you 4 times daily during rush hours following the news at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 12 noon, and 5:15 p.m. and brought to you by Subway. Need a meal on the go? Subway has 7 locations at Anderson Square, West Shore Plaza, and Industrial Park in Georgetown, Centennial Towers, West Bay, Reef Resort, East End, Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah, and in the Owen Roberts Airport Departure Lounge. No matter if you're running late, need to cater an event, or a staff meeting, Subway keeps you fueled with sandwiches, salads, pizza, wraps, and snacks. Subway, eat fresh.
This is Catherine Ebanks Wilkes, and as the representative for West Bay Central and the Ministry for Sustainability and Climate Resiliency, I am concerned that our islands are at a high risk of loss and damage to seagrass beds. Stronger storms, warmer sea temperatures, and sea level rise can destroy seagrass beds. Culturally and economically important animals like green sea turtles and conch need seagrass to survive. To learn more about the climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, located on Walkers Road, Georgetown, and in Evron Plaza in Bordentown. Whether you're fulfilling a prescription, treating an illness, or just maintaining your personal health and wellness, look to Value Med Pharmacy for your personal care needs. Value Med Pharmacy, bringing you the 8 a.m. news Monday through Friday on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Enjoy your mix of pop, hip-hop,
dancehall, urban gospel.
The Super Jam Show is
brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by
Cayman Airways. Call them at 949-2311 to book your non-stop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Also brought to you by Superior Auto Center. Do it right the first time with Superior Auto.
949-9570
or 525-9571.
Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by
the Yum School Lunch Program. Now available at selected private and public schools across Grand Cayman.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Yesterday,
Today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. And in the studio with us, we have our Miss Cayman Islands Universe, Ilian Powery.
Yes, good evening. Hi, Dionne.
Good evening. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment.
Finally!
Yes, for her to wearing the crown still and coming into the sports. I have so much questions for you.
All right. I told you she was going to
Forget volleyball.
I told him. Oh, my goodness.
She warned me before coming. Yes. No, that ain't gonna happen.
And we also have the director of youth volleyball in the studio and coach, right? Dean Linney. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm happy to be here.
And your son, who's a player of the sport, Dylan Linney.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello. You're so handsome.
Yeah, he
Oh, what a
is.
sweetums.
Based off his dad.
I have to see mommy. I'm sorry. Alrighty. Well, let's get started. I know you guys wanted to touch on the youth program.
Yes.
As far as where you were and where you guys are going, what events you have coming up.
Yes.
And of course the successes of volleyball today.
Yes.
So, Coach, can you mind if I call you Coach?
I prefer
Mister?
just call me Dean.
Dean? Okay, Dean. We have a Dean here at Radio Cayman, our technician.
Okay.
So, Dean, can you provide an overview of the current state of volleyball?
Yes, I appreciate this time. I really do.
Yes.
This is one of the many steps to which we're going to be taking going forward, especially for the youth program. So just to give you kind of a quick overview of where things are, where things have gone over the last few months, especially. So we have, when I really came on board and looked at this more so over the last, since 2022, we started off with, I think, maybe around 15 to 20 youth players within the program. And that was at the ending of 2022 to beginning of 2023. Within that short period of time, it grew from 20 to 110.
Yeah. Right? It was growing. I mean, I was doing interviews with Coach Trevor like every other week, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. It's like, Coach, what are you doing over there?
Yeah,
it's growing.
It's been fantastic.
Huge.
He's done a great job.
Yeah.
In regards to development with the youth there, gaining the interest and everything else, and just opening up volleyball nationally within the Cayman Islands.
May I ask, stick a pin, as someone would say. May I ask, is it indoor or beach?
Both.
Or both?
Both, yeah.
Amazing.
So we right now, our biggest program is definitely indoor.
Yes.
But we do, because what we find is that, over the years, we were focused on indoor, but not a lot of Caymanians or actually a lot of islanders love to be on the beach playing volleyball, right? At that level. Social-wise, it's one thing, but when you're playing at a high level, it's
in the hot sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Don't hesitate to say it. That's exactly what it is.
Just say it.
But so we've taken a kind of a step back and said, you know what, let's build this over and start with indoor, and that has grown huge. I mean, as I stated, we're now 100 plus, and it's because of that we now actually starting to get players interested in going into the beach.
Yes.
Right. And we got a few players now that are actually training on the beach. And that's our platform. That's where we see things going over the next whenever this ends, or if it ever ends, right?
Right.
But the whole thing is right now is that we're trying to ensure Cayman overall that this sport is become a national sport, and it's something that anybody can get involved in, right? This sport has nothing to do with creed. It has nothing to do with stature. It has nothing to do. It's just you as an individual, right? These Dylan and his team really, they started in like I said, the ending of 2022. And the level that they're at now is unbelievable. They've actually drive volleyball in society itself to a whole different level.
Yes.
People are really excited. I mean, I have people coming out to watch these guys play it, and they're standing up in their seats and they're showing me goose chills in their arms because they're like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting."
Yes.
People are actually, you used to play volleyball before, are coming out the woodwork now because they're now saying, "Oh, this is exciting again." So it's re-energized volleyball within the Cayman Islands, just at this foundation. So we're hoping, and I want to get into this a little bit later on as well, is we've got a group coming in, which is called the FCA
in June.
And they're going to be a huge part of this as well, because they're going to be opening up doors for us. But what we're doing with them is to be able to start developing the team camaraderie and the experience of working with individuals, not just in Cayman but internationally, and then to open up doors for our players to either compete internationally or to have a camp or a connection in jurisdiction that we don't have connection in right now, right? And that's the whole thing, is that I want to open up the doors.
Right.
For these individuals that they didn't have before, and using the volleyball platform to make that happen, right? So I right now, my whole thing is all about the youth and trying to make sure that the opportunities that they have is golden.
Yes. Yeah, so he's not focusing on you.
I know, but I'm still youth. Hello. Hello, I still feel 16. That counts. Oh my
so
gosh.
Dylan, tell me a little bit about your newfound journey of volleyball, because if you've heard here previously on Radio Cayman, Dylan was speaking on behalf of synchronized swimming, artistic swimming. So now he's playing volleyball. How has that helped you? Has that helped you in any way, doing synchronized swimming and coming on the volleyball court now?
So coming from artistic swimming and the transition into volleyball, it made it very subtle and easy.
Okay, nice.
Especially since the pressure and the feeling of being within a team and being coached and being with the same people 4 to 5 times every week, it overlaps with each other.
Okay, very nice. So what team are you currently on?
The CIVF national team.
What age group? Is it a particular age group?
So right now we have the under 18s, under 19s and the under 15s, right? Right now our under 19s is actually on average 17 years old.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Nice.
But we're now playing at the under 19s and at a high level. I mean, we've just the same team just competed recently and put a lot of pressure on these teams that's been around for a while, the experienced players, and they came third.
Nice.
So it was really good. I mean, it was really fantastic. You guys got to come out and watch these guys play. It's amazing just watching them play.
You're giving the older guys a run for their money.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
he's like, of course. And you take pride in it too, right? You're like, we're coming out for you today.
Yeah.
Do you play too? You played as well?
I used to play in beach long time ago. Long time ago. And I won't go into the age and how long ago it was, but it was a long time ago. But of course, certain things happened. I had a bad car accident, so my wrist was kind of messed up, and
I'm sorry
I really
about
couldn't
that.
get into it. But yeah, I mean, I used to love it back then, but it was really more a community thing.
Yes.
I used to play with Glenn Dakin and those guys back in the day, right?
OT and Shervin and then?
Yeah. Actually, even before OT and Shervin.
Before OT and Shervin?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So it was a long time.
Yeah, that's when I knew volleyball. When I first came here, it was OT and Shervin. It started there for me.
Wow.
And let's jump to our beauty queen here.
Yes.
Transitioning, Iliane, from a national volleyball player to a beauty queen. It's quite a unique journey.
It is.
It's for any athlete. Yeah. When Chloe did it with basketball, when what's her name that played volleyball nationally too?
Kristen.
That's his name.
My niece.
It's your niece. Yeah. See, when she did it as well, it's such a unique transition. Can you share what inspired you to make the transition and how your background in sports has influenced your approach to pageantry?
So it's always been a desire to do Miss Cayman. I always envisioned myself being crowned one day. And being inspired by those ladies at the events that I've attended, the different pageants here, Miss Cayman, Miss Teen, and I just saw myself in that position, just didn't have the confidence at that time or the bravery. And so I eventually took a leap, applied, thankfully won. Praises to God. And so that's that. In terms of the transition, I feel like it's similar to Dylan, where I felt like sports kind of teaches you all the basic things that are so necessary for life. And so carrying that into pageantry was no different. You just needed to be motivated, disciplined, have self-control, all the good, foundational things that make you a good person, but even better in that field, in that area. So I didn't really find it difficult. And I think for me, because of the sport, I was able to be a public figure and a role model already. And a lot of people ask me that. And, like I said, I was that already in sports. So to be that in pageantry was no different. It wasn't a hard thing for me to get used to the limelight and to get used to these kind of things again. So, yeah, it was a smooth transition, thankfully.
Awesome. And competing at a national level in volleyball, of course, requires a high degree of discipline, teamwork, all that you just mentioned, and physical fitness too.
Right.
How have these attributes played a role in your preparation and success in beauty pageantry?
So definitely with the fitness aspect of things, I didn't really have to do a lot of work in that area when preparing for Miss Universe. Thankfully, that made it so much easier. Yeah. I didn't have to worry about, because there is a standard in pageantry most times for like weight and your body structure and how it looks and your physique overall. And so I didn't really have to work on that, thankfully. But all the other areas, makeup was definitely something I had to pick up. Volleyball didn't teach me that. Walking in heels didn't teach me.
Not on the beach.
No, not on the beach. Sunscreen is all I had, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so using the things that I already had, but the things I didn't have, I just used it as a motivator to just continue to improve, elevate. Like I said, the self-discipline was there. So I knew if I was signing up for pageantry, I had to be disciplined. I had to get things done regardless, even though it was not a sport, but it is another form of a sport. So yeah, it just made it work, just made it happen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your role today?
A player.
Right.
I am a player.
So she's competing, you're competing soon.
Yeah, so actually my partner Dee, I call her Dee, but it's Diazra, she's going to be traveling with me, or we're going to be traveling together to Dominican Republic the first week of April, God's willing,
nice.
for Norseca stop. Yeah, very soon. That's in like 9 days, I think, that we leave. So we're excited for that. That'll be my first time traveling since winning, so that's a big deal.
And you're a queen at the time as well.
Yeah,
still
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, ooh,
that's amazing.
I get to blend them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she's out there practicing as well.
Yeah.
So she's
look like a queen on the court.
Oh, Lord. I could be like, Raf, remember now, give me a little black, please.
Is that a challenge for you? Like, I just said, you can't look like a queen on the court. You go out there and you have to be a beast.
Yeah, but honestly, when I step in that court, I don't think
forgot all about
it. I don't think about the crown.
Yeah.
I turn into Serena Williams. I'm like hollering and muscle up. And
I asked Chloe the same question when she came in here. She said, Miss Dionne, I totally forgot I was a queen when I went to Gibraltar.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you, Chloe. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I completely turn into athlete.
Yes.
So that's no problem.
Okay, so who are some of your competitors when you arrive? Where is it? You said you were going? Dominican Republic.
So Santo Domingo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll find out when I get there.
So it's...
I'm not,
Okay.
Yeah,
and
so they're still having people register and stuff like that as well. So.
And it's only the two of you going, or there are more?
No, there's a male team.
There's a male team too, which would be Jasario and Steven.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be heading over.
Awesome. So, and we have some indoor tournaments as well coming up?
Yes. So we do have, right now we're getting ready for our national league that is actually happening, when is that again? In April? No.
May.
In May.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's going to be, we're opening this up again because again, we want to see about getting more players in. National league is all supposed to be about trying to find players for them to compete, but also to find players to actually bring them into the national team.
Right.
Training regiment, right? Right now, unfortunately, we are stretched. The federation is stretched because the program is growing so fast in such a short period of time. We're having to juggle developing the program as well as trying to develop the national team.
Right.
So we're going to be hopefully in the near future trying to work with some of the local clubs to kind of help them along the line to grow volleyball within the Cayman Islands. So we do have this event coming up, and we have a few others coming up. Some clubs are going to be doing some FBC and so forth. We're going to have some more beach volleyball coming up. So there are several events throughout the year. So what I would say is that if anybody's interested in looking at this and looking at these and coming out and playing and supporting even, which would be fantastic, just go to the Federation's website. And we'll have a schedule on there in regards to the events for the year. But what I'm hoping to do, and I'm hoping that you can accommodate me, is at least every quarter come on to your show, kind of update people on where we are, where we're going, what we're doing. But the overall growth of this program is again to bring the global volleyball to Cayman, or Cayman to the global volleyball. Right. So we've got a couple of clubs coming down hopefully this year to kind of help work with us, train with our boys, as well as set up camps, and then vice versa, them going over. We've also have a couple other areas that I won't get into yet, but next year there's going to be a whole new different avenue that again opens up the youth players to the international.
That's what I was about to ask, if there's going to be any international competition for Dillon anytime soon.
Yeah, so in July, the end of July, beginning of August, we just started to pick a team now to go over, and they're going over to Jamaica to compete in the under-19s. We just got someone to help us out, and they were like saying, my gosh, these guys just started playing volleyball.
Yeah.
Right now I can say that they're going to be in the top teams going into Jamaica.
Amazing.
And this was somebody who was actually a coach of the Jamaica team, right?
Yes.
So it gives us a little bit of an edge to an insight to what to expect, but it gives us that confidence that we can go over and actually compete at that level, right? So there's a few things coming on, and as I would like to do is, like I said, is going forward, just kind of, I want to make sure that there's transparency in regards to this program, making people more understanding of what's happening, but also I want to open up these opportunities for everybody in the Cayman Islands, every young player, anybody out there who think that they can hit a ball, please come down, please reach out to us, please look at us and come out and just play with us. I mean, you don't have to compete at a high level or feel that you need to compete, but just come out and play. You just don't know where you're going to go to next. Yeah. And I just want to make sure that this is, again, something that everybody wants to be a part of.
Yes,
Can
definitely.
I add some stuff that he, things that we
Of
didn't
course.
get to fully think? So for the website, it's civf.ky. And then for our Instagram, it's Cayman is Volleyball. And then just to add to the National Premier Volleyball League that he mentioned, so that's May the 8th to June the 29th, and there's a registration fee of $500, where the deadline is on April the 27th. And for that, you have an early bird rate as well, which is $450 for the first 6 teams to register. So it's male and female divisions, and there's some rewards and prizes that come with that as well. So just to repeat, civf.ky and Cayman is Volleyball on Instagram.
Awesome.
And just keep tuned. There's a lot more things coming in, and next year is going to be even more exciting. There's some things that are going to be really exciting. So I'm
we're looking
really
forward to it. Volleyball is a beautiful sport, you know.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sport. So
And I
it's
tell you,
good to see it in action.
Yeah.
Not just with
fantastic.
Norseca, but indoor tournaments as well. I love the indoor tournaments.
Yeah.
Y'all can keep your beach tournaments.
Oh, excuse me.
With all that sun, you need to provide me with a big hat.
Honestly, I can say though, just to kind of add to what he was saying earlier too, there has been such a big jump into how many persons play beach now compared to when I was playing. Yeah. Like I remember just being Shanti and I as the youth players. Yes. It was just 2 of us, literally 2 people, and now I can't even count on one hand now, and that's so encouraging to see. And of course, like he said, the youth is who we're focusing on. So
what's the lighting at the public beach so that games can play at nighttime?
Well, unfortunately, we actually, just surprisingly, we were actually looking at trying to work that out now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get additional lighting just for that particular thing. But right now, unfortunately, we don't have the lighting there to do that. But we are looking. We have been talking to CQC and seeing about how we can try to get that set out there to be able to do that. And then also I got to say thank you to Dart too, by the way. I want to plug them because they've come on board and they've stated, hey, listen, we love the program, we want to support you guys. So they've actually given us the art to practice. on a specific time to help our team to have a continuity in regards to knowing every Saturday and every Tuesday they have the facilities there to train at, right? And it's a great facility. So between that and John Gray, which is again another facility, which is a fantastic facility. So just between the two of them, we have now a place that we can almost call home.
Right.
And that's a great foundation.
Awesome. So Dylan, do you do beach and indoor or just beach?
Mostly indoor.
Oh, you're indoor all the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm beach all the way.
And you're beach all the way.
Plug that in since you don't like beach.
You don't. It hurts my calves. So wait. But you have you done indoor before?
Oh yeah, I started with
indoor. Right?
Yeah,
okay.
I started and then I transitioned on, into the beach.
And you wouldn't try it? You wouldn't go back to it?
I played leagues
as
time went on, but it's not my preference. I like just 2 people.
Does that affect your muscles in any way, doing beach and doing indoor?
Well, actually, you know what, to tell you the truth, it's actually a good thing.
Okay.
Because you find that areas to which you didn't really work hard on indoor, you have to do a lot of it outdoor, right? And the agility and the spring,
right?
And the focus, everything changes when you actually doing the cross between indoor and beach.
Natural factors too, the wind, the sun.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Which makes you a lot more alert. Your reflexes a lot better and everything else. So when you're bringing that back into the indoor, all of a sudden now you're a higher player, right?
Right.
But to get what was said here earlier on, you know, you want, just because you come in on one side doesn't mean that you need to stay on there, right?
Side, yeah.
We're not in any way trying to say, well, you have to do this and you have to do that, right?
Right.
If you want to play beach, play beach. If you want to play indoor, play indoor.
And we're giving it both.
Yeah, exactly. We have players right now. We have 2 players, junior players, who actually play indoor. And beach.
Yes.
Right? So it's a lot of work, but they enjoy it so much.
Yes.
I mean, right now we have these guys calling up coach literally every day. Coach, listen, you know, we have practice tonight. Can we go out? You know, I know that the gym is going to be open. Can we go there at this time? It's just that feel, the camaraderie that they have. They always want to be around each other and they always want to be playing volleyball. So I'm really excited that these guys, I mean, just within that team, which is right now 24, but overall 100 and something players, we're getting that consistently with all of them. They just want to be there.
Yes,
you know,
definitely. Dylan, did you like to say anything?
I just want to give a thank you to Coach Trevor and everyone who's behind the scenes working as hard as they possibly can to provide this program for the youth of Cayman and giving us the opportunity to further in the sport.
Awesome. Tell me about your team before we go.
Our team, we're so excited to play.
I can imagine.
We're all very ready, and we've been looking forward to this so much, and it's all we can talk about.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys, so much for stopping by. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate this.
I can't wait, and I'm all in for the quarterly reports. I think that'd be great. Whenever you can come on, just give me a buzz. And,
Fantastic.
Once I have no one scheduled for the show, because sometimes I schedule in advance, so it'll just be to rotate people depending on which one is more urgent. Okay?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Again, appreciate it, and I appreciate Cayman for listening to the show and supporting it. And again, guys, please get involved. If you got your kids at home and they want to get involved, just let us know, and we'll try to figure out a way to make that happen.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And thank you to the Department of Sports for the Honoring Women's Month segment. We appreciate you. That's it for Sports Extra for tonight. Of course, as you know, Sports Extra is about giving you the latest information of sporting information here in the Cayman Islands. So if you have any questions, email me, sportsextracayman@gmail.com. You can check out our Radio Cayman Sports Extra social media pages, also our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, I should say, for tonight's edition of Sports Extra. I'm Dionne Anglin. Thank you so much for listening. Good night, and God bless.